Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. So usually when we get together, we're diving deep into, dense research papers or sprawling data sets, right? Well, today we are doing something entirely different, and honestly, I am so incredibly excited about it. We are going to unpack a literal mountain of meaning from what has to be the briefest source material we've ever looked at. We're looking at a transcript from a children's nursery rhyme. Yeah, no joke. But hey, don't let that fool you, because by applying our usual analytical lens to this tiny text, we're going to uncover a remarkably elegant framework for human interaction.
I mean, it sounds kind of absurd right off the bat, doesn't it? But really think about it. Way before we understand complex social contracts or intricate legal systems, we're taught the absolute basics of just how to exist alongside other people. The source material we're exploring today distills the absolute foundation of how we help each other into just a handful of syllables. So as we go through this explainer, I want you to keep this question right in the back of your mind. What can exactly 6 simple words actually tell us about the absolute core of human cooperation?
Okay, let's dive into this. Our entire source material consists of exactly 6 words. Aha, oh no, thank you, welcome. That's it. It's incredibly brief. There's no fluff, no filler. Every single syllable here carries massive analytical weight. It basically represents the absolute minimum viable vocabulary you need to navigate a social disruption and, restore harmony. We're going to treat this single 6-word sentence with the exact same rigor we would apply to a major sociological study. Because, well, at its core, for its intended audience, that's exactly what this is.
Now, to truly get these 6 words, we got to establish their context, which comes straight from the title of the source. The baseline setting here is baby cartoon nursery rhymes. We are literally at ground zero of social instruction aimed at our absolute youngest learners. And the environment? It involves apples and bananas, this playful, super familiar, almost Eden-like setting of basic food and recognizable objects. But the overarching theme, the real curriculum here, is explicitly spelled out. Let's help each other everywhere. So this isn't just about fruit or cartoons. It's a sweeping global mandate for pro-social behavior.
Just look at the phrasing there. Helping everywhere. That is a massive, bold claim. The title totally elevates the stakes of the little micro-interactions we're about to analyze. This isn't just a quick lesson for the playground or the kitchen table. The source is actually arguing that the lessons packed into these 6 words have universal application. By dropping the word everywhere, the text insists that mastering this brief little sequence is the key to navigating the entire world. It's a wildly ambitious thesis for such a tiny piece of text.
And this brilliantly illustrates the complete narrative arc embedded inside those 6 words. We can actually map out a perfect micro-narrative chronology. It's almost like a tiny, bite-sized hero's journey. We start with phase 1, which is discovery. Then, boom, we immediately hit phase 2, conflict. From there, we pivot smoothly into phase 3, intervention. And finally, we land at phase 4, resolution. In literally just seconds of runtime, this transcript guides the viewer through a full-blown cycle of social disruption and repair. Let's break down each of these phases so we can see exactly how this emotional arc operates.
It all kicks off with aha. This is our inciting incident. So in the context of our apple and bananas world, aha represents that sudden vital spark of realization. It's the precise millisecond a character's attention is grabbed. Something brand new has entered their field of vision, or a new understanding has just clicked. It's a neutral to positive expression of discovery. It basically sets the stage and makes sure everyone is paying close attention right before the inevitable event unfolds. But, that moment of pure discovery, it's super fleeting, because we instantly smash into the dramatic peak, oh no. The peaceful baseline is totally shattered. This phrase signifies the immediate recognition of a problem. Maybe a dropped apple, a missing banana, just some kind of mistake that requires urgent attention. Oh no injects serious tension into our micro-narrative. It signals to the young learner that the current state of affairs is definitely broken and requires a social intervention to fix it. It is literally the universal alarm bell of the toddler ecosystem.
Now, what's really interesting here is how perfectly the transcript splits down the middle into 2 entirely distinct functional and emotional halves. On one side, we've got aha, oh no, this is the problem. It's sudden awareness immediately followed by a negative disruption. Then, on the other side, we have thank you, welcome. And this is the solution. It's the interpersonal toolkit used to actually fix the disruption. Our entire explainer kind of hinges on this thematic dichotomy. The first half creates the social deficit, and the second half pays it right off.
So how do we cross the bridge from the problem side to the solution side? Well, the source text strictly lays out a sequential logic, what I like to call the empathy protocol.
The actual mechanics of helping each other involve these 3 implicit, unskippable steps. Step 1, you've got to recognize and acknowledge the oh no, the problem. Step 2, someone steps in to help, which is followed immediately by giving the thank you. And finally, step 3, the whole interaction is sealed up by offering the welcome. You absolutely cannot skip steps here. You can't just toss out a welcome without a thank you, and frankly, you don't need either of them if you don't have that initial oh no. Let's zoom in on that intervention tool for a second. Thank you is the absolute pivot point of gratitude. This is the exact moment where the momentum shifts entirely away from the conflict of the oh no. Someone saw the problem and stepped up to help out, and the thank you acknowledges that effort. It totally transforms a moment of distress into a moment of human connection. It's the active ingredient, if you will, in the recipe for helping each other everywhere. Because without this specific expression of gratitude, the conflict is just left hanging.
So the crucial point is that thank you alone actually isn't enough to complete the cycle. We need welcome. This single word acts as the ultimate seal of social cohesion. It is the final building block you need to firmly reestablish social equilibrium. By throwing out a welcome, the helper acknowledges the gratitude, wipes out any lingering sense of social debt, and signals that the relationship is 100% back to normal. It basically tells the other person, hey, I helped you, you recognized it, and we are totally good.
Let's see how this builds a complete picture of emotional regulation. Just look at the massive emotional swing we're navigating with these simple phrases. We travel all the way from the negative disruption and anxiety of, oh no, swinging the pendulum right over to the positive, grounded restoration of welcome, all in mere seconds. I mean, it's a masterclass in conflict resolution. It shows the viewer the disruptions are totally temporary and that we have the verbal tools right in our back pocket to swing things back to a positive state.
And honestly, this is exactly why this whole thing matters. It is so easy to just brush off a baby cartoon about apples and bananas, but these foundational micro-interactions, they aren't just for kids. This little 6-word transcript is the actual blueprint for a cooperative society. Think about it, the absolute bedrock of adult social contracts, international diplomacy, workplace collaboration, you name it, it all relies on this exact same sequence. Recognizing a problem, intervening, expressing gratitude, and acknowledging that gratitude. The vocabulary obviously gets a bit wordier as we grow up, but the underlying engine running it, it's identical.
Which brings us to our final thought. The source explicitly challenged us to take this and apply it everywhere. It kind of hints that the overwhelming complexity of the world's problems might really just be scaled-up versions of an oh no moment in an apple and bananas cartoon. So I'm going to leave you with this to chew on. If we strip away all the noise, all the complex jargon, and just truly master the genuine application of thank you and welcome, can we truly help each other